DK Drama, Bird Gang Sports. You already know what it is. You already know what we're here to do. We got a lot to discuss. Well, we actually just got a lot to watch, man. Colin Cowherd again, man. The dude is just dropping jewels left and right. And this past 2 weeks, I want to say, he's been kicking some knowledgeable stuff. And of course, a lot of y'all haters gonna say that it's not. Only because he's speaking facts about us, our team, our quarterback, and the coach. And he dropped this top 10 list of quarterback coach duo. And he ultimately had Carson Wentz and Doug Pederson at number 2. And if you listen to his reasonings of why, then you will understand why I, for the most part, agree with everything he has to say. And I agree with where he put those two. Only because the fact is, number 1 was Andy Reid. And we know Doug Pederson is a part of that whole Andy Reid tree. So that's, it's okay. It's okay. The student will soon be better than the master. We'll link up. We'll meet up soon enough. Soon enough, we'll meet up. I'm pretty sure of that. And that's going to be one hell of a battle to see. And it just may be where Carson Wentz really stands up and show what he got to do. But I don't want to drag my portion of this video too long. I just wanted to let y'all know exactly what we about to be watching. So, for real, it's about 8 minutes long. Y'all can stick around, like, share, and subscribe to the channel where we're going to be bringing more of that good, straight Eagles news to y'all live in effect. Hit that notification bell so y'all can be a part of that notification gang. This your boy DK Drama, Bird Gang Sports, and I'm out.
So yesterday, as Joy has noted, Kyle Shanahan signed a 6-year extension to be the head coach of the San Francisco 49ers. A lot of people fell in love with Sean McVay a few years ago, and I said, time out. He's not the best offensive coach in his division. I think it's Kyle Shanahan. I think Sean McVay is great, but I think Shanahan has a chance to be an all-timer. And so we thought today, if we looked at coach and quarterback, what is the best combo? Where does the coach elevate? Is there a symmetry? Do they work together? Or is it just a great quarterback carrying a coach that doesn't get him? Here's our top 10. Here we go.
Number 10.
I would say Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury. Now, you're going to roll your eyes on this, but do you realize last year they went up 8.5 points a game together? They improved 8.5 points a game, and Kyler was the offensive rookie of the year. So clearly, Cliff Kingsbury worked. It also should be noted, they were a good team when the offensive line didn't unravel. In the 7 games they played where there were 2 or fewer sacks, Arizona went 5-2 in the toughest division in football. So it worked. It's young, but it absolutely worked. They're at 10.
Number 9.
Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll. I think Russell Wilson's carrying this relationship. I will put it in the top 10 because in the last 5 years, Russell Wilson has led the NFL in touchdown passes, but I don't think they've given him post Marshawn Lynch always the right support behind him, the right support in front of him. He's elevated tight ends, but the minute they traded Jimmy Graham and got rid of Max Unger, I thought it was disrespectful. The offensive line's never been the same. I think Russell has overwhelmingly carried this relationship, but they make a top 10 list.
Number 8.
I think Deshaun Watson and Bill O'Brien work together better than anybody will give him credit for. In the last 2 years, when Deshaun's not been sacked or sacked 1 or fewer times, they're 10-0 together. They won a playoff game last year. Now, Bill O'Brien's got limitations. He thinks he's a general manager and a coach. But I think they actually work well together. I think Bill O'Brien's a good offensive coach. I think he's patient. They've won playoff games together. They're 24-13 together. O'Brien's mistakes are that he's not as good with personnel, but he's given Deshaun Watson world-class wide receivers. At least we'll see the Deshaun Hopkins move, how that works. But I think these guys actually work better together than people think.
Number 7.
Jared Goff and Sean McVay. In the last 3 years, they have won 9+ games in every year. Consistency is very hard in the NFL. By the way, in the last 3 years, they've averaged 29 points a game. That is 3rd highest in the NFL. Most of the issues have become interior offensive line issues. And let's be honest, I'll give McVay credit here. He dealt with that Todd Gurley mess where they paid him too early, and he didn't want to call him out, but Gurley was kind of, not really connecting with the team. They couldn't depend on him. He had to work with a backup running back situation. So McVay stock has been sold. I still think he's really, really good, and I think the Rams will be a 9-win team this year.
Number 6.
Lamar and John Harbaugh. Now, they were first in rushing last year, and I give Harbaugh a lot of credit for putting his arms around Lamar, who's not being paid anything now, and accumulating talent. I don't think John's an elite offensive coach. I think he's really an elite human who understands the gifts of Lamar Jackson. But I think this is a relationship that continues to grow. They've been disappointing in the last 2 years in the postseason. I still think they're kind of trying to figure out each other, but I put him at 6.
Number 5.
I don't get those who doubt Brady and Bruce Arians. Listen, Arians has won another Super Bowl. Tom's got 6. Arians won a couple as an assistant. Bruce Arians wins games, and he makes quarterbacks better. He did it with a young Big Ben. He did it with a young Andrew Luck. And Tampa last year with Jameis Winston. Again, people, you got to remember, they were first in the NFL last year in passing with Jameis Winston. Now, a lot of turnovers, but they had a mess at right tackle. They didn't have much of a running game, and Jameis is turnover prone. So Tampa was first in the NFL last year in passing. Now they're going to get Tom's efficiency and Tom's experience. So I think this is a reputable, redeemable, and very productive duo.
Number 4.
Kyle Shanahan and Jimmy Garoppolo. Garoppolo's way better than anybody wants to admit. Kyle Shanahan's record in San Francisco without Jimmy G, not great. With him, it's 21-6. They were also second in the NFL last year in points per game. Now, the reason that's noteworthy is they lost both tackles. They had wide receivers banged up. They had to insert Emmanuel Sanders at wide receiver during the middle of the season. It did not go without bumps. They had a lot of injuries up front. Their Pro Bowl fullback got hurt. And yet here was Kyle, here was Garoppolo in their first year together, being about the only team that you'd watch on TV and think could go toe-to-toe with a Kansas City or a Baltimore.
Number 3.
Drew Brees and Sean Payton. Now, it is not quite as dynamic as it was 3 years ago. It's the longest-running combo in the NFL, working together since 2006. They have been together so long. It's just unheard of in the NFL. Here's the other thing. They have been top 10 offense every year they've worked together, including number 1 6 times. Now, their offensive line is very good now. It was not nearly as good about 4 years ago, so that's really impressive. 6 times number 1 offense in the NFL.
Number 2.
I think Doug Pederson, it took me a while to get used to it, but I think Carson Wentz and Doug Pederson, the reason I put him over Brees and Sean Payton is because I think Wentz at this point is a better quarterback. I think Doug Pederson has come off the Andy Reid tree and has really, really been good. He's nimble. He evolves. They've been 27-15 in the last 42 games. By the way, the Eagles have made the playoffs for 3 straight years. That's the longest streak in the NFC. Wentz last 4 games last year, throwing to deck chairs, was absolutely remarkable. I thought Pederson and Wentz, even during the Super Bowl year, I thought the most impressive performance by either one of them was the last month of last season. The schedule was not easy. They had injuries everywhere at wide receiver, offensive line, secondary. I think Wentz and Pederson are undervalued. I think we all know Brees and Payton work. We all know Garoppolo and Shanahan. I think Wentz and Peterson's best days are ahead.
Number 1.
Not real tough, Mahomes and Andy Reid. A-plus offensive coach, A-plus quarterback. Mahomes has 10 more touchdowns than the rest of the NFL over the last 2 years, and that's missing 2 games. I think Andy Reid's the best schemer in the NFL. He sent me something the other day on text. He showed me 2 plays he's going to use against the Broncos. I didn't share them. It's just in the vault.
Well, that's responsible of you.
Yeah. So I think this is one of these rare marriages when you get a great offensive mind and a great offensive player. It doesn't happen very often. It's just the perfect marriage. It feels like Brees and Payton like 8 years ago, where you just knew you're getting 29 points every Sunday. So they're at the top of my list, my top 10.
E-A-G-L-E-S